Welcome back, guys! So today we are not crafting. This video is going to be just kind of show and tell of the different types of materials that I use in my acrylic paintings. And when I say acrylic paintings, I don't mean the pours that I have done. I mean my day-to-day job. I am a MnemeTherapist. I am certified through the Art Without Boundaries Association. And for this, we focus more on the process of the painting rather than the materials and the end result of the physical painting. So in order to do this, we don't spend a ton of money on any fancy paints or brushes or any of the materials like that. And I feel like that is important for other people to know, because if you're wanting to get into painting as just a hobby of occasional now and then for entertainment, or you're wanting to get started but you're not sure you're going to like it, art materials are so expensive. It doesn't really matter if it's painting or sculpting or crafting of any sorts. Typically, it costs you some money to get the materials you need to make what you want to make. So I wanted to make a little video on a way to kind of save money, get the bare minimum of what you need, so that you can move forward and put the money where it needs to go if it's something that you decide that you want to invest in. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this and just show you guys and kind of talk through the process of what I have and how I use it, and also show you a couple of pictures or examples of what these items and material can create for you. Okay, so before we begin this portion, I'm going to apologize in advance if you hear any crazy noises in the background. That's my 2-year-old. She's having a great time and enjoys a good squeal now and then. Let her be. So let's go ahead and start with prep work. So when it comes to acrylic painting, you're going to want to be wearing old clothing. I feel like with any type of painting, we should know better, but sometimes we think we're cleaner than we are. So I would suggest an old t-shirt, some type of old clothing that you don't care if it gets stained on. I personally have an apron. I have lots of aprons, but I also paint more than the average person. I just got I think like 6 or 8 cheap aprons off of Amazon. Acrylic paint will come right off your hands with soap and water, no problem. Your clothing, however, not so much. You can possibly get lucky, and as soon as it happens, go run it over to water with some stain remover and maybe get it out. My hope is not there for you though, because I have lost some clothing to the paint. So your prep work is important. Make sure that you're wearing something that you don't mind if it gets stained or dirty. That goes for your table or whatever you're going to be painting on as well. If you have an old tablecloth of some sort, or a couple layers of newspaper that you can put down, I would suggest it. So that is what I have in hand for that. Make sure you have paper towels on hand or something that you can wipe your hands clean with. And then the next thing is going to be the actual paper, or what we use to paint on. So I have these textured cardstock, basically scrapbook paper that I get from Walmart. Both of these came from Walmart. They have like bright colors that you can get, and then also plain white. I use bright color a lot because I do work with a lot of elderly people who have issues seeing, so it just helps them see what we're working on and the borders of it. So I use paper. A lot of people use canvases. That's fine too. It's whatever you want to do. I just don't have the space to hold a bunch of canvases, or to be able to travel with them would be a little bit more difficult. So I use paper. I use masking tape. So just plain old masking tape. I actually suggest the cheaper kind. I have the Duck brand for, what is it called? Yeah, Duck brand, that's what it's called, for it, and it's actually too strong. They didn't have the off brand that I usually would typically get, and as you can see, when I peel it off, it does tend to rip my sides, but for what I am using this for, it doesn't matter. I paint my pictures and then I take them, crop them down, and take prints with me so that I can show people that way instead of the physical paper. But for your purposes, I would suggest a not as strong masking tape. You will need a piece of cardboard, and then you're just going to tape the paper down to the cardboard. So you're going to want to make sure that the border is even all the way around and that it's straight. It may not matter to some of you, but if you're like me, once this picture has dried that you have painted on here, you are going to peel this tape away and it's going to leave a border. I like my borders to be clean and even, and it hopefully have the same amount of paper showing around each side, which is also why I would suggest white paper if you don't have any issues with visual. So yeah, do your best to tape it on there, right? So then after that, you can paint on this. We tape it down because whenever you put the paint on, it's going to make this page wet and it has the tendency to wave. It will also hold it in place for you. And whenever I paint flat. So for the type of style painting I do, if you will be painting with me at any point, which I do plan on possibly doing some tutorials in the future, I do not paint with mine sitting up like this because I paint a lot differently than most people and I build while paint is still wet. So my suggestion, if you are hoarding Amazon boxes like I know that you are ordering, don't lie, then just cut out one of those boxes and just keep yourself a nice piece of cardboard that you can tape paper to. You don't have to get, this is a 12 by 12, you don't have to do that. You can do a standard size piece of paper. I do know that like Michael's, Joann's, the other type of craft stores, all do have frames to fit this. So I will say the pictures look so beautiful whenever they are framed. They look just amazing. I love seeing my clients' work when it's all done and framed and they hang it outside of their doors and it looks so good. So that's my suggestion, is you can get frames there if you're wanting, you know, you finally paint something and you're really proud of it and you want to hang it on the wall or gift it to someone. There are frames that you can get for that. So yeah, let's move along to a water bucket. I just use this off-brand Tupperware. My mentor is a genius. The person who taught me what I do for my work, she said a cup is so easy to knock over. She said, you know, if you have a taller, you know, cup sitting next to you and you're working and you move your arm, it's so much easier for you to knock that over, unless you know, when you have a flat, wider surface, it's going to be harder for you to move and spill this. So this has been great. I have had zero water spillage. So let's go ahead and knock on something because I'm a pretty big klutz, guys. You want some kind of palette? I have just this cheap lid. I don't even know where this came from. I may have stole it from a bucket or something that was lying around, or I may have got I know they sell these for like 30 cents at different places. So just some kind of palette where you can pour paints on or mix your paints onto. The actual paint that I just use the Apple Barrel brand that you can get from the Walmart shelves. So I buy these bigger bottles and I fill smaller like travel bottles. So I have a bunch of just these size. So these are 50 cents on a Walmart shelf. This is $1.50. I know that they make even bigger. Like I have a couple, I can see them, they're across the room, but they're like big tubs like this that you can also get. It just depends on how much paint you use. But typically for me, for storage purposes and things, this size is perfect. And then whenever I run out of them in my I have a little travel tub because I do take my stuff on the go. I just fill these individual bottles up with what I have here. So, you know, whatever paint, if you've already picked out a picture you want to paint, just get the colors associated with that, or you can just go and get like a standard amount. You don't necessarily have to buy one color in all of the different shades. You can make your own shades. You can easily Google a color wheel to teach you how to make those different colors, or if it can just be basic, like I have this dark green. All I do is take my normal green and I add black. I have a dark green. If you want definition in your pictures, typically you're going to want 2, possibly 3 tones of the same color. So yeah, these paints are really cheap. Like I said, 50 cents for the little bottle. This is 2 ounces. Or for the big bottle, the 8 fluid ounces, this is $1.50. So no fancy brand. It's not going to take your arm and your leg. So those are the paints I use. They do make plenty of other just basic paints like this that you can get from the other craft stores and things. It's wherever you prefer, but that's the cheapest that I have personally found it. So now let's talk paintbrushes. That's where you're gonna spend most of your money. Everyone should have in their arsenal a big old mop brush. So this is actually an e.l.f. I don't know if you can see it, it's all painted up, an e.l.f. makeup brush. I got this for $3. Some of them I paid $1 for, it depends, you can find them on clearance. I got this from the Walmart shelf. Some of their other makeup brushes are awesome too because they tend to be cheaper than any paintbrush in the crafting aisle. So this is a must. This will save you so much time and so many swipes and helps with blending a lot. So after that, I would suggest, they have typically in the craft aisles these really coarse type brushes. These are so good for so many different reasons, and they add such good texture to your picture. They're very cheap. I got a package of these. I have several of them, and they come in handy in more ways than you could think. I have another like smaller, big moppy type brush. Let's see what else. I have 3 different sizes of those. Actually, guys, I lie. I have paintbrushes everywhere. I have a whole stash other than my little jar. This is my container I carried them in, by the way. I have all of my extras in a Ziploc bag, and then all of the ones that I know that I use all the time for easy grab and easy, I just have this old mason jar that I keep them all in. So yeah, I have several sizes of just like a plain flat brush, just flat across the top, and it's not very thick. I think these are called filbert tip. They're flat brushes, but they have like a round, or maybe they're called rounds. I don't know. Can you see that? Yeah. I think this is the round brush. This one, it's nice and soft, but it has the different type of angle at the top. Fan brushes. I suggest you having 2 different size fan brushes in your paintbrush arsenal. So these are so amazing to do a lot of different techniques, but if you want to be able to easily produce some happy little trees like Bob Ross, this is what you need. People think it's so hard to do, but honestly, if you have the right materials, it is so easy. I never thought that I would be a painter. I'm not great, don't get me wrong, but I can get the job done, and that's because I've learned which tools are important to have, which ones help your job become so much easier, and the basic techniques on how to build a picture. So, and then my last suggestion would be like a little fine point, like detail brush. So these are the ones that I would say would help you out the most, and you don't have to have as many as this to start out, but one of each of these will go a long way. I do know that they sell them, in little preset packs. Buy one of those. Like I said, the paintbrushes are typically where you're going to spend your money, but you don't have to buy anything crazy expensive. But I would suggest it being not the little typical Crayola brushes that you would get for kids painting pumpkins or something. The bristles of those are really plasticky and hard, and they do not spread paint very well. So just the softer bristles typically move paint around a little easier. So yeah. Hopefully you can find something. I know I've bought several different packages that have had at least one of each of these brushes in it. It's been so long. Like I said, I don't need to buy brushes, guys. So it's been a really long time, but yeah, just look it up, find what you need. Some of them don't come with fan brushes, and I'm telling you, get one fan brush. If it's just one, get a fan brush. All right, so moving on, let me put these away before I drop them everywhere. To several different tools that help just create different type of looks or textures. I have these set of 3 that I found on clearance. I think I paid like $4 for this set of 3. I brought the new ones out. I bought 2 of the sets because if you find a good tool that you like and you're worried that you're not going to find it again, buy a spare. That's just my motto. So they're just little, it's my first Crayola. You can see that on there. Okay, so this one, actually don't like this one. I don't actually ever use it. It's a pack of 3. It comes with it. This one has these little fun little ziggy zag things on them. So with this, I took it and I cut off half of this to make it more usable and have better control. And I did the same with this one. And this one is just long, square, tipped things that just give different textures too. And I'll show you my actual ones. I brought out the new ones because they're prettier. But if you can tell, this has been used. But I cut this down so that whenever I typically use this to push with different things. You can see that they actually spread out. With them this long, they just smash and bend, and they don't give me the desired look. So, like I said, I bought these really cheap for like $4. I cut them off to give me these different tools that give different textures and all kinds of different ranges of how you can use them. You've seen these silly little foam things before. These are perfect for making moons and suns, and like if you want an object that it needs to be really round and centered, these make your life so much easier, even if it's just to give you an idea so you can put it on there and then take your brush and have a finer detail on it. This, I don't know what it's called. This is my favorite tool that I own. My mentor had one. She showed me all of the different ways that you can use it. It is absolutely amazing. I found this on Amazon in a pack of, like, it had all kinds of just different stuff in there that I actually don't use. Sorry, I just spittled a little. That I actually don't use, but I bought it specifically for this tool because it is an absolutely amazing thing. So if you ever seen one of these lying around, suggest you get it, especially if you're into painting floral paintings. And then my last suggestion is these natural sponge things. You can find them in pretty much any craft aisle. Usually they come in packages. Ugh, did you see that? Usually they come into packages of like 3 to 5. Some of them are big. If you have, just a big one, you can cut it down into smaller pieces. You can use those to make a bunch of different textures as well. Have a little hack. So I just have this one, and to keep my people's fingers and hands clean, because you're gonna wet this and have paint on it, you can just use a paper, what is this called? A clothespin, and just clip it on there, and then you have a little handle for them to push and to hold this with. So yeah, these are the ones, along with the paintbrushes, that I use almost every single time I paint with someone. So yeah, let me see. I'm looking around, making sure I didn't miss anything as far as those. Also, okay, so you don't have any of these fun texture tools. What do? You can easily use paper towels to achieve different textures as well. You can fold them in different ways, use them as a push tool as well. You would just take a paper towel, fold it in half, roll it up. Let's see if we can do this quickly to not waste a bunch of time for you guys. And then you would just kind of like fan it out just a little bit, and you can use that to push and make different textures too, and can fold it different ways, obviously, or roll it in different ways to give you different outcomes. So yeah, I think that's everything, guys. I'm pretty sure that's what I have. So I have a couple pictures here that I want to kind of show you. You have these things you can paint. I did not think I could paint. Before I started my business, before I found MnemeTherapy, I did not enjoy painting at all. I found MnemeTherapy and it spoke to my soul. I knew it's something I wanted to do, but I didn't think I could do it because I was never good at painting. I took all kinds of art classes. I took art classes in college and high school, obviously throughout grade school, and painting was never my strong suit. I can craft and do all of these different things, but put a paintbrush in my hand and I don't know what to do, at least when it comes to making a physical picture. I can cut in a ceiling and trim like it's nobody's business though. So yeah, this is one of the first pictures I ever painted. Not good at painting, never thought I would be successful at it. My mentor sat down with me and she broke down just the step-by-step process of how to build a picture, and I did this myself. All it takes is a little bit of patience to get started. So with the materials that I showed you today, obviously there's going to be some cost associated with it, but go to your local Walmart and it'll save you a little bit of time and a little bit of money so that you can come back and paint with me and make different pictures like I have here. Okay, so thank you so much for stopping by. If you guys have any questions about like specific brands or anything, like I said, my paintbrushes and stuff are all assortments of stuff that I have collected over the years. I have crafted my whole life. I've painted a lot when it comes to like different physical items, but to sit down and paint a picture, I was never good at that. So I had a lot of just paintbrushes and things that I've collected. But yeah, so those different styles are the ones that I suggest. As far as a specific brand, I don't have a suggestion for you. But yeah, those are my tips on how to save a little money and take a little step into getting involved with acrylic painting and starting that hobby, or starting, you know, the first step into learning more, because okay, you do this and you love it, you'll eventually start, you know, wanting better materials and whatever. Right now, this is just going to get the job done. You're going to have pictures that you're proud and you're happy of, and it's going to teach you the basics so that you can move forward to get to where you want to go. So I hope it was helpful for you. If you have any questions on specifics, please feel free to reach out to me and ask me whatever you would like. Hopefully I will have a tutorial for you in the future about some of these pictures that I know that you can paint, and I will see you guys next time.